And finally, the nightcap. We have the Utah Utes, 23rd ranked team in the country, coming in 5-1 at Brigham Young University, who is ranked 15th in the country at 6-0. But real quick before we dive into this, Quinn, the guys need to leave a like and subscribe down below. 98% of you guys are not subscribed. That needs to change. It helps out a ton. We put a lot of hard work and effort into these videos for you guys. We do 8 to 10 a week. So if you like it, subscribe and hit the like button. But with that out of the way, like I mentioned, man, 7 o'clock on Fox, Utah, BYU. Looks like Utah's favored by 3.5 wow, this is actually really close. According to the matchup predictor, we've got a 51% chance for BYU to win this game. Which way are you leaning, Quinn?
Well, I'll go ahead and spoil it early. I'm leaning Utah. I think Utah's a really, really, really good football team that just so happened to get exposed by an even better team in Texas Tech. I haven't got the chance to really, really speak on how I feel about Texas Tech. I think that's a team that's not only going to go to the playoff, but might surprise a Big Ten or SEC team in the first round and smack them in the mouth and leave them wondering how the heck they lost to Texas Tech.
I certainly would not want to play them.
I wouldn't either. They're a really, really good football team. BYU, I thought they'd lose to Arizona last week, and
Yeah.
they got really, really close. They've benefited from playing a very, very nothing burger of a schedule up to this point. Um, it's a rivalry game. The Holy War is real. There's a lot of hatred. This is one of my top rivalry outside of the S. Like when you leave that SEC footprint that I grew up watching, this one is one of my top tier games. I put it as a top 5 rivalry in all of college football personally. I love the game. That being said, I think BYU's about to get exposed here by Utah. Utah's lost. I I know they lost last year. I think they've lost the last 2 to BYU. So don't roast me down in the section if I'm wrong, Utah fans. I'll have the ability to look it up real quick. I'm shooting off the hip here. But that being said, I just think they're a really good football team that's starting to peak, especially after what they did to Arizona State last weekend. Man,
That was brutal.
I like them to continue in that trajectory, try and get another stab at Texas Tech at the back end of the year, given that Cincinnati doesn't get in their way. They're giving me Utah to put the smack down on BYU and finally kind of put the BYU Cinderella story to rest before what I think will inevitably be more losses in BYU's future inside of conference play. I just don't think they're as good as undefeated would suggest.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a little context behind that Arizona State game. Sam Levitt didn't play, obviously. I believe a 30-something-year-old senior did named Jeff Sims, and he looked terrible. So I'm just gonna throw that out there for all you Arizona State fans that might be watching. Condolences there on that massive loss to Utah. But when you look at Utah's season so far, I mean, you look at some of these scores: 63-9, 31-6. The loss to Texas Tech 34-10. And then you bounce back with a win 48-14, 42-10. They're putting up points.
Yeah.
And they're putting up points at a high clip that Utah even at the height of their run 3 years ago, they weren't putting up this kind of offensive numbers. They just weren't. And you know the defense is going to come with Utah like it is every single year. And BYU to me is a wild card. You know, you mentioned the schedule, and yes, they've benefited from a very weak schedule. Stanford, East Carolina, Colorado, West Virginia, and now Arizona. Um, and that's kind of catapulted them to being ranked 15th in the country and having that undefeated tag next to their name. I think they're overhyped. I think I agree with you here. I think they get exposed against Utah here. Give me the Utes to win, and honestly, I think it's by 2+ scores here. I don't think this game's particularly close.
I think it'll be close. I do think it'll be. It shouldn't be like if you were looking at these two teams without the added context of it being the Holy War. I would say Utah wins this game by 20. But with the context of what this game means and how intense this game gets, I like it to be close. I just think Utah's better.
I think you like it to be close because you like rivalry games to be close. And sometimes not all rivalry games are close. However, I see where you're coming from, and there's a very real possibility that this game is close. But I'm looking purely at the statistics and the overall units on both sides of the ball for Utah and BYU, and I honestly don't see how BYU can compete. Um, I think the ranking should be flipped here. I think Utah should be 15th, and BYU should be 23rd. Even though BYU's undefeated, I just like what Utah's been able to do over the past probably 3 or 4 weeks. So, guys, thanks for watching. That has been the Week 8 edition of Three Bold Takes in the preview and predictions. Leave us a like down below. Comment where we're wrong or where we're right. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time. I appreciate it. Peace.